What's up, guys? Fancy a quickie? So here is a little blitz game I've just played. I mean, I've been absolutely suckaholic at blitz last few days. I've dropped down from 1550 I was a few days ago down to just scraping my arse on 1400. But this is a nice little game, and it's a nice little instructive one, so I thought I'd share it. So we've got e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and now the Scotch. And I just instinctively moved f5 here. I was really expecting, because my opponent is sub 1400, I just assumed he was going to play the Italian or maybe the Spanish, right? He played the Scotch, and I kind of almost immediately played f5, which is actually the Krueger Scotch. Now, the engine doesn't like this, but it's all right. And I've got a Krueger Scotch Revisited study, which I'll link to in the description. It's a surprising move. It's a rare move, but it, like many of these f5 gambits, it scores quite well. Now, my opponent here played knight to c3. Now, there is a general rule, okay? Whatever they do on move, what's that, move 4, you attack this knight, okay? So if if this pawn advances, you take and attack the knight. If this pawn takes, you advance and attack the knight. That's the basic rule, okay? And it even works here. So here you take the pawn and attack this knight, right? That's just what you do on move 4 as black. My opponent now plays knight takes, and this is actually a mistake, or at least an inaccuracy from white. Now, I just checked my study, and the correct move here is actually d5, which makes every bit of sense, you know. d5, your opponent's allowing you to get 2 pawns in the center, and it comes with tempo, should play d5. I didn't do that. I took on d4. Not the best move. However, white now plays bishop c4. So what would you play here as black? Well, they have basically fallen for the center pawn fork trick. So d5 now. And next up comes a really instructive moment, because they now develop the bishop to g5 attacking my queen. And it looks as though white is doing really quite well here. Because, for example, I mean, queen can't take the bishop, okay? Now, if here, and I had to think about this for 20 seconds, right? If I put my knight to here, this knight can get out of the pin by capturing my knight with check. Okay, so knight here, knight takes, knight takes knight, then it has to be pawn takes, because if queen takes, then bishop takes queen, and that's losing. So if knight takes, pawn takes, then he actually has bishop takes. Right, so I have to think about this. Obviously, I can't take either of these because I lose my queen. So the only other move, bishop e7, is what I played. Now they should actually take here. It apparently is his best option. But we ended up trading, and then he takes on there and loses his bishop. Okay, so it's -2 now for black. I have no pawns on D, E, or F. Opponent has 2 very strong knights in the middle, but I do have an extra bishop. So here he decides to trade. Okay. Now, in these situations, really important not to recapture automatically. There's an intermediate move, which is to trade queens, forces this. Now I recapture the knight. Now my objective is, I've got an extra bishop, I want to get that bishop out into the board, so I want a castle. But it all depends on my opponent's next move. Now, the option of bishop d7, long castles, I really like. He castles, I decide to go short. I mean, I'm up a piece right now. I do have this awkward pawn on c4, but now it's just a question of converting. So he takes the open file. I develop my bishop, targeting both the knight and the undefended c2 pawn. He defends the knight. I decide to trade off because I'm up a piece. So now I have a knight and he don't. So no, right? This is my general plan: get my rooks onto the 2 open files, force some tradage, and go on to win relatively easily. So rook A goes to d8. He comes in, I trade off, and then knight here targeting this pawn. Okay, he comes down to attack c7. Right, now, what I would love to do is I'd love to play rook f7, which is an X-ray defense of the pawn. So if the rook goes ahead and captures the pawn, I take the rook and win. But I can't do that, because if I play rook f7, he's got rook e8 check. Then I have to bring my rook back, and then he just repeats. Right? That's not the situation we want. So I defend the pawn by bringing my knight back. He pushes c3. I wonder if actually a4. Yeah, a4 is definitely, a4 or rook d7 are best here. d6 is next up, but it's just not good for white anyway. So he plays that. Now I give my king some wriggle room. Why? Why do I do this? I do this so that I can play this. But then if rook e8 check, I have king g7. Right? I don't have to bring the rook back and get into rep. Right? He comes up here. Knight obviously back to d6, hitting the rook and defending the pawn. Rook comes back here, and now I get to do this. This is a genuine X-ray defense of the pawn. He can't take. He comes up comes the king. Pawn comes down, my knight goes to f5. Right, I wasn't entirely sure why I made this move. I had to make a move, right? Now he moves his king up. And my next move was not the... Well, actually, according to Lichess's Stockfish, my next move was the best move. No, it wasn't the best move. According to chess.com right now, which is Stockfish 16 on depth 20, my next move is the best move. So what would you play here as black? So what I'm figuring is, I am up a piece, right? My opponent only really has one piece to play with, so what I want to do is force the rooks off the board. And it just so happens that this rook has nowhere to go after rook to e7, right? My pawns guard all of these squares, so and the king guards this. There's no lateral movement whatsoever. Wherever he retreats, he's going to die, so he's going to have to trade himself off, and then simply, and my king's going to get into the center, and with the help of a knight, equal number of pawns, I'm going to convert easily. It's nearly -4 in black's favor here. So yeah, I thought you'd enjoy that, just for the few little tactics there. Yeah, let me know what you think of these little short videos, so kind of halfway between the shorts and the long plays. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this stuff. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.